Meant.
Have you ever wondered what hypnosis might be and what it can do for you? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Hypnosis-Everywhere with your host, Inez Simpson. This is the show that talks to everyone, from the experienced practitioner to the cautiously curious, and yes, even the skeptics. Now, here's Inez Simpson.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Hypnosis Everywhere, and this is Inez Simpson. And I do have Martin Gover with me, and he's sort of hanging back. Yeah, he's a lunatic, but very needed lunatic. So I just want to welcome today, I've got another Canadian hypnotist on today with me, and that's Heather Rodriguez, and she lives in Saskatchewan. And she's wearing a shirt to match, and since you can't see it, I thought I'd tell you. She's promoting Saskatchewan, and she's from Regina. So say hi, Heather, to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be on the show tonight. Thanks, Inez, for having me.
Okay. And you know what? Usually when we're doing the show, it's big time frames difference, but we've only got a couple hours, so it's kind of good. And Heather, her name is Heather Rodriguez, if you didn't hear it the first couple of times, but she's also a hypnosis teacher, so we're sort of had similar backgrounds of different things we do, but she's getting on a new path. And we'll talk about that shortly. But first of all, you know how I usually ask how they came to be hypnosis. How did they came in to be involved in hypnosis? And also, what do they think hypnosis is for them? Okay, for their little chat.
Okay, great. So to make a very long story short, I had a moment one day, I'd been studying in my really early 20s, health and healing, and I got all into holistic therapy and into this way that we can really improve our health. And I honestly just had a moment one day where I was like, oh, right, I want to learn hypnosis. And I went online and I looked it up, and I saw, oh, there's a training in Calgary, which is about 800 kilometers from here, and it was happening in less than a month. I signed up. I took my family and my baby at the time, and was in this hypnotherapy class to get certified. And while I was in the class, I realized that I had hypnosis before. When I lived in Calgary, when I was 19 or 20, maybe, going to art school, I must have been about 20, going to art school, I met someone, they ended up giving me hypnosis. I would ride my skateboard there after work, and yeah.
You're just making me feel really old now.
Well, this was like, I don't even know, 98, and I was really going through a hard time. This was someone that I'd met. I was working in a cafe. He said he was a hypnotist. I had no idea what that was. I was open to it. He wanted to help me. I was having a lot of health, problem. I didn't have a healthy lifestyle. I had basically run away from Regina, and I forgot about it. But after that time, my whole life changed. Like, I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, I got on the holistic therapy path, I moved back to Regina, resolved things with my family, and then I only remembered when I was studying to learn hypnotherapy.
Well, that's interesting. And many times I want the people out there listening to note that, because many times your whole life opens up, but it seems absolutely normal because you're always the new you. And you never go back into the feeling. So you're only staying in that feeling part of you, which is the subconscious part, will always sort of say that. So you just think it's just normal, but it is normal, because once you change, you can get anything, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you're right. It is important to remember that you might do something like hypnosis and work on your mind and not necessarily notice everything that it could create at the time.
No. It's when you look back and you suddenly take note, right?
Yeah.
Just taking an awareness of it.
Well, and that's really what hypnosis is for me. That's how hypnosis changed my life. Back then, that was when I didn't even realize it. But then once learning it, and practicing it, and then understanding more how the thoughts I think create my reality. And that's what it's really, to me, is like, it's about empowering ourselves to be one with our own mind rather than just believe everything it tells us.
I don't know that, we always talk about this, the self-talk that we tend to do negatively in that. And once you do hypnosis, you understand those things, and you're going to get even more into that now because you're actually starting a new program that you're in your life right now, and calling it Hypno Coaching, right? And in coaching, I mean, you're doing the best of both worlds here. You're coaching and you're doing the hypnosis if it's needed, or hypnosis to move them forward, right?
Yes, I have evolved naturally into hypno coaching, which is a revolutionary new approach to using hypnosis, that peak state of mind, to create dreams and sacred relationships. And really, rather than focusing on fixing the problem, the pain and the issues, it's really about getting the guidance and the support to moving forward, to really just create the life that you love. It has a lot to do with moving forward while at the same time recognizing that we're not ignoring problems or fears or issues. It's just that we're not looking at it like they have to all be fixed or unblocked in order to really create the life that you want.
And I think they coincide totally together, from my point of view, because I do work in deep work and things like that, but I also understand that the coaching aspect is a huge deal, because people, let's say they're going to me for hypnosis, and I think, I can talk to them about all kinds of stuff, but also when they've left and suddenly that other issue is gone, sometimes they also need some coaching to know where to go next. Where do I go now?
Exactly. You said it perfectly. And that's why I do see this as such a natural evolution, because exactly, then they've got this kind of blank canvas. They are free from these things. They are feeling better. But then what? Then what's going on in their lives, and how do they really create the types of relationships that are supporting this new them? And how do they, where exactly, like, where do they go from there? And to me, I'm very excited about that, because it's so fun helping somebody create something that's really unique to them.
Yes. And I think that's really the important thing. And, there's people have misconceptions about what coaching is sometimes. So maybe you can tell them a little bit about that.
Sure. I think people have misconceptions about coaching and hypnosis sometimes.
Sure.
And and in bringing the two together, I feel like I'm letting go of a lot of the misconceptions of hypnosis, because again, it's not that they have to get into some perfect state to make the change. It's just that we're using that peak state of mind, which is getting to a little bit of a different
Okay, we're sort of getting some freezing here.
create things, with the hypnosis.
Maybe
I
can
think
you
it's
just
fast
repeat,
now. Yeah,
just
sure.
repeat that last sentence a little bit?
Sure. So, we're not focusing so much on what is or what isn't hypnosis with the coaching. It's just a tool that I am using to really access that deeper level, which, as we know, makes change happen a lot faster.
Yeah.
And so with the coaching, there might be some misconceptions in terms of somehow that I guess sometimes people feel like they should be able to do it on their own.
And
they
also don't have an idea of what a coach will help them with. So
True.
It's sort of give them some ideas of what that could be.
Well, a coach can help you with, getting your ideas out there to start to becoming a reality. A coach can help you by listening and then asking the right questions to get you connecting to what you really are wanting to create. And then, of course, when we look at the support element, which is somebody that's there for you, that's, really not unconditionally loving you, where they can like I see myself as very capable of holding a space of unconditional love with my clients, where I can let them be and process and have their weaknesses and have their strengths and figure things out for themselves without my agenda.
Yeah, well, I think that's important. It's always about keeping our judgment out of it. And that's when coaching, I think, is quite important for sure. Just
Well,
like
yeah.
it is.
And a lot of people do tend to go to their relatives or to their friends for advice. So then they kind of go, why would I need a coach? But that's exactly why, because a coach is not a relative or a friend.
They have a much more, they can stabilize you and get you to look through certain eyes instead of looking through their husbands, their wife, their mothers, their friends' eyes, because they're going to be, their judgment is going to be in that. And if you can go to a person that has no judgment in it, it becomes much clearer, right?
Absolutely. And I found that relationships is one of the areas that people are wanting coaching in and are really needing it, because we haven't really been taught, except by example, what healthy friendships, what healthy food relationships, what healthy work relationships, what healthy love relationships actually are.
Yeah, most of us, because we're coming up in the world and things happen one thing at a time, and that's your reality, right? That is that moment. So what coaching really will open up the reality of what it could be.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because it naturally releases those limiting beliefs, like I should just take what I can get, or that's impossible, or like that's just in the movies, or whatever it is.
Or it's not for me.
Right.
Yeah, the I'm not good enough thing is actually a very undercurrent for most people. We all carry it to a degree. And when it's a high degree, you better go see a coach and a hypnotist for sure, because it will stall your life.
Absolutely. And that's actually when coaching is amazing. Like when there is an area that you have been trying to accomplish something or change something or create something and it hasn't been working, that is the best time to just get some assistance.
And, I think there's quite a joy for you in helping people and seeing them soar. I think, I know from working with a friend of mine who was a coach and who was, we'd do some work together. She was in my office. We'd sort of, exchange. And, I know from her point of view that she always loved it when she saw people moving forward and attaining what their goals and stuff. So it's
amazing, and it's part of that too. Like I do the work of my heart's purpose. And so I get to see people, in theirs. And it's the biggest blessing there is.
Guess what? We're coming to the end of this first segment and we're going to go to break now. So we'll see you on the other side and we'll continue the conversation.
Visit Facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Hypnosis Everywhere, the Simpson Protocol. To reach the show today, please call into 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to Inez, that's INES, at InezSimpson.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hypnosis Everywhere, and Heather Rodriguez from Regina, Saskatchewan. And I was just talking to Heather in the break a bit about how she was really a woman on a mission. I mean, I was on a mission too, but there's many of us that start on this mission, but we need a little coaching help sometimes. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about when you started hypnosis. Was actually, it's quite a ways away, but not yesterday. It was 2011. Is that when you started doing hypnosis?
Yeah, that's when I took my first training.
And now you're training lots of other hypnotists. You're sort of the big cheese in Saskatchewan. For at least that's the only person I know in Saskatchewan that does hypnosis. I knew other people, but I mean moving it forward.
Yeah, that's what I found too. Like when I learned it as we were talking to, you learn it and then you're really excited to meet other people and learn more and do more. And I came here and I found that wasn't really an area. It wasn't an area that the people were building community or sharing knowledge or information. And, for that first couple of years of building my own practice, I had met with some people here, but it wasn't that there wasn't that ability to like create the community that I had envisioned in my mind. And that I'd seen, from going to other conventions, like going to NGH convention, going to the Canadian Hypnosis Convention, those things really opened my eyes too. I'm really grateful to have been able to spend as much time as I did around other hypnotists, because when I came here, I didn't know that this is like a real profession that you can live, like you can live well off of, and you can create the life that you want while helping other people. And so I had just always been about spreading the word. To me, it wasn't even about finding other people that wanted to learn hypnosis at that point. It was that I realized hypnosis is amazing. It helps people with so many different things. Everybody needs to know about this.
And I agree, because I'm on a mission too, and that's why we're here, right?
Yeah,
Hypnosis Everywhere.
right. That's why you put in the time, right?
Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
it's all about that. And it's about the hypnosis community. And the hypnosis community continues to move forward. We're not back in the 50s, people, any longer. And in the 50s, it was all that whole thing about, that's where a lot of the misconceptions came from the very authoritative things that they see on book covers and all those things. We are not there any longer. And
Absolutely.
I don't think we ever really were, but totally.
No, but the
misconception
perception of it.
Yeah,
was.
perception was, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I found actually. I really consider that I built my practice not by trying to get clients. I built my practice by raising awareness to what hypnosis can do for you, because now I like to think of people as starting to think of hypnosis as a first option, whereas I found it was starting to be more of a last option. So, for example, people had done tens of thousands of dollars of IVF, and then they would come for fertility hypnosis and conceive a child.
Yeah.
And, it's like that, where even just last week I did another library talk. I still do free library talks because it's getting it out there. And then once people experience it and realize how gentle it is, and that has evolved into training, over 50 hypnotherapists in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting now because we do have a chapter, and like now we're just renewing for the year, and there's people taking on new roles and wanting to create events. And so now it's not just me.
Well, that's good, because it's okay to be just you right at the beginning, but eventually you need some support, because as you are getting around a lot, there's only so many hours in a day. I know that too.
You know that, yes.
So you start to rely on your hypnosis community to move you forward, and it does, because, and the whole thing is about supporting each other. In the hypnosis field, there could be a few, there always is in some field. And most people in our field are liking to support each other, and we're not thinking about competition, because there's so much room out there for helping people.
Exactly. And I love that you said that, because I know that my community, that's what they really appreciate about it, is that we're sharing and helping each other, and it's not a competition game at all. And if anything, sometimes a little healthy competition is good, because it makes us want to be better and be better. And that's what I found. I'd always wanted to have people around me that I could support and share. And now that it's happening, I know that that's something that is such a gift. It's such a blessing for all of us involved.
And this is for lay people mostly, this program, but I want them to understand that so many different facets, that the mind covers everything. It's connected to anything and everything. So
Mhm.
I want to open up your box of understanding of what we as hypnotists do. And many of us specialize. So you need to know all the things that you can do, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
endless.
that is a box. That is a
Yes,
box
yes.
of thousands of things.
And then
And
slowly let that box open some more because our community is moving forward in how we present
yes,
hypnosis in all facets.
yes. I
So
mean, the
that's
way I really,
soapbox.
yeah, right. Wow. I mean, the first thing I'll start off is just by saying we all learn things along the way in our lives. So we learn things, and then that's how we started to look at things and perceive things and feel about things and believe things. So that's just the basis to where we're going and what's happening when we're feeling a certain way. And so when we bring in hypnosis and think about having the ability to change the way that we see things, which changes the way that we feel about things, which changes the way that our body responds to things as well. It actually makes it a lot more easier than if we start thinking, oh my gosh, I have to change all the thoughts I think, or oh no, I thought a negative thought, now this is going to happen to me, you know? And it makes it easier to start to think about it in the sense where it's as easy to create a new pathway of happiness as it is a pathway of unhappiness. So it's not that we have to get all overwhelmed and feel like, oh my gosh, I know I have so many negative beliefs that I need to change. And I know that these beliefs are affecting my health and my relationships and my whole life, which can be a very real thing. Like I do understand.
Yeah, you understand
It's
that.
I like to be light about it. Yeah, I like to be light about it without not without while recognizing there's deep pain and suffering that we experience. And because of the way that we see things and feel about things and get triggered with things. And so when we start to look at our lives as every relationship, every experience, every moment is an ability, is a possibility to learn more about ourselves, to have more of a rich life, to make choices in the moment that can continue to create a happiness or a more content programming, then I find like it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Mhm.
Because I mean, as we know, it never gets done. It's
Yeah,
not like you go
we
through
can
this
keep
list,
moving forward forever. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so to me, I look at hypnosis as that, where we use the mind to feel better. We use the mind to start to look at things in a way that makes things less stressful, makes us take less responsibility for having to be somewhere that we're not.
Yeah.
And, I love the law of attraction in that sense, where it's like when you're just more content with where you are, then you actually can get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And as you know, I really like that element of hypnosis of creating the positive language in the mind and the self-love where we're not necessarily deleting, people will come in and say, hypnotize me and delete my critical self, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like we were born with that self. Like we're not here to delete our inner critic, yet
Mhm.
more like be able to have a relationship with it. Understand that we are not just what we think we are.
And the awareness of what they're thinking. I think
Mhm.
that's the big thing because people don't always aware of where they're going or what they're thinking. And
Yeah.
you, especially when you're coaching, is you bring that to their mind and they understand and they become aware. And
Mhm.
that's an important facet, living with awareness.
That is a great point, Inez, because that's exactly how I see it. When that awareness, which is really illumination, where you can just see where you're at and what's going on, then you can create a solution.
Yes.
And solutions are really just a choice, right? And making the right choice for you creates new chemical messaging. But how do you make the right choice if you don't have the awareness
That's right.
and know the solution to then make the right choice?
Yeah.
And that's where coaching really helps, because once you start making the right choices, the new messaging becomes a new program, and then you're just continuing to create that pathway of happiness in your mind without
but it is
go ahead.
interesting because, I've got a pro health program. I've got this, to do, but I have to say, not many people take advantage of the pro stuff. They elect to proactive health. Sorry, Martin, I didn't.
Right.
Because it's about becoming aware of your body and everything beforehand. And that's, as a coach, that's incredibly, so they think of me as the hypnotist, right?
Right.
So this is another program to show us that we have many hats.
Yeah.
And Heather is donning hers of hypno coaching at this time. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My microphone was kind of bouncing.
That's okay. And you're right. It is those many hats. And it's also a good point because it's better. It's even marketing, they teach you, speak to your clients' pain points rather than to what they hope to accomplish.
Yes.
And I'm not going for that. I'm going for let's actually just go to where you want to go.
Yeah. I know that is really the thing. And, in marketing, they say, well, gosh, we're already at the 30 seconds. I'll come back with that thought. So
Sure.
See you on the other side and off to break.
You're listening to Hypnosis-Everywhere, the Simpson Protocol. To reach the show today, please call into 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to Inez, that's INES, at InezSimpson.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Well, welcome back, and we're going to get back into conversation with Heather. So what I really like to know now is sort of in this playing field that she has now is coaching, the different aspects that people come in for, or even that she'd like them to come in for, whatever. Yeah.
Thank you, Inez. And that's a good point too, because it's easy for me to say, you can create the life that you want. But then when we start to break it down, what is that? Because it can be so vague, really. What do I really want? And so I'll start by saying, with the hypno coaching that I'm doing, it's really about creating relationships, creating strong, sacred, connecting relationships. Now, this might sound like lovers, friends, but it's also our relationship to money, our relationship to our work, our relationship to health. And so when we really are looking at what could you be coached to achieve, it's not like you need to pick a goal and then get there. It's more about what steps would you take in your day-to-day life to feel the way that you want to feel. So that could be anywhere from, well, the big trend right now, right, which is the Marie Kondo, clean out your clutter.
Yeah.
So I thought about doing a hypno coaching program for that, because that's huge, because you're creating space in your everyday life for new things. So something that someone could be coached with would be creating space in their bank account, creating space in their, finances, in their work, in their projects, in their relationships, in their family life is huge too. And so when we start to think about what can be created, it's more, the coaching is more helpful in the step, what to do next, or what could I do every day to begin to plant the seeds for the garden that I really want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so when we take a specific area like money, which is one of my favorite ones to work on, because lots of people have there's some stuff around money. There is just stuff, because a lot of us were raised to fear not having enough money. And there's a lot of beliefs around money that get us kind of stuck in it. And so say, for example, if somebody was coming to me for coaching about money, and, I'd start to, again, bring in that awareness. Let's look at what the relationship is about money that they're experiencing, and what it's been along the way. So again, it's like we're still looking at past stuff to get to the future, but we're not,
But
that
we're
was
not.
bad and that's stopping you from creating the money relationship that you deserve and desire now.
So just
And
to say that back to you for a second, because
yeah,
I don't know if the sound was quite good there, is that you are taking their past and looking at how they've looked at money, etc., and then start to show them how to move forward from their own point of view, right?
yeah, exactly. And to, you know, actually realistically, because we're talking about dreams and visions, but the practical moment to moment tending of the garden is what creates the beauty.
If you don't pull the weeds and water it, you
Well, and if you're trying to get there because you hate the garden that you have now, you don't get there, you know? So it's about getting into that enjoying process. And, you know, something about the world right now is very different even than when I got into doing this kind of work, because now it's like when we're not doing what we desire, when we're not enjoying things, things are just feeling really bad and they're not moving forward.
well, they're very compounded, especially now with you. We know globally everything that's happening. We also have so much social media, and we only see it through the eyes of the media at that moment. And sometimes the illusions are built and created too.
Well, often I do joke about how I think I de-hypnotize everyone more
Yes,
than I ever hypnotized
and I
everyone.
agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and that's also what is the benefit of having somebody assist you that can look at things from a different perspective,
Yeah.
because we can get stuck in our perspective. And this happens a lot in the area of relationships, which is probably my favorite area right now, because there is a lot of misconceptions and beliefs about relationships that are causing people to not feel fulfilled as well. And it's not necessarily about leaving one relationship and finding a better one that creates that fulfillment.
Yeah.
Because if anytime we're looking at any person to help us to feel better, or to, you know, if you just change, I'll be happy. You know, this kind of thing,
Let's see. Can I change you? So it's
you know,
yeah.
right? And this way that we disempower ourselves, because we're, you know, when we're able to forgive, as you know, when we're able to let go, when we're able to come from a more loving place and not take things so personally, we're able to actually receive the love that we truly do desire. And it's not because we forced or made another person do it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mind
know?
you, if they are in a bad relationship, we wouldn't say, well, that's fixable if it was really bad. But
Absolutely.
right, so there's also that. But there's also,
Mhm.
from a coaching point of view, if you have a great relationship with someone, let's even make it even easier and better.
Well, exactly. And then when we get into like the communication, because it's not that I necessarily need to change the person that I'm with, but if something is bothering me, I also do have to be able to have the space to communicate it about it, so it doesn't create those built up
Yeah,
feelings as
because
well.
that is how things build up. Is you never say anything, you never say anything, you never say, and then there's a big explosion.
Hmm. Exactly. And I found with coaching that once we can create a space, not only for the person to express how they feel, but especially the couple, to
Hmm.
have the space to be able to express things without, even if we get originally take it personally or something like that, to be able to, you know, dialogue maturely through that, so that it's not about blame or defensiveness, it's about love and communication.
Yeah, and it's a learning process, you
Yes.
know, and we get better at it as time goes. I'm still learning, and every
Well,
day.
I am too. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about
Yeah.
coaching is understanding when you hire a coach, you're just like choosing to have someone assist you or help you create what you want for that point in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, or even a hypnotist. Like when you go to a hypnotist, it's not like they're going to fix everything about you and then you won't ever have
No.
to go back again.
Yes, in one session.
Yeah, like this idea of, even when people might ask, well, how long will that take? Or how many sessions will that need?
I know.
And sometimes I just think that also devalues or disempowers the client's process, because
Yeah, their process is always
stuff and our own health imbalance,
Yeah.
is our journey.
Yep. And, it's always important as a client to know that there's always a choice to be made of, do you want to move forward some more? It's not about, we fix this one little thing in your life and maybe you want to move forward and maybe you don't, but it's always your choice and where you're going to go next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, for example, with something where somebody will stop having their panic attacks and their anxiety is really improved. And then they start to go, oh, I think I'm going to work on my physical health now. I think I'm going to work on moving my body more and creating more balance in my life. I got to that in my own self where it's just a natural progression. I got to this place where I was practicing a lot of health. My health was really great. And then I got to a place where I realized, well, the only way I'm going to keep this up is if I start to reduce the amount of stress I take on in my entire life. And then I was able to, from that healthier perspective, look at what kind of things am I doing that is creating stress? And again, not fix it all, but keep walking that path towards awareness and making different choices. And as you know, that's one area that I'm very passionate in, working with other people. I used to do a lot of weight loss and weight loss groups, which I've now switched and changed, because I found a lot of people were coming to that class not to lose weight, but to create that deeper sense of knowing and practice of perfect health and balance, which we know isn't achievable. But it's again focusing on how you want to feel and how good it feels when you stretch or move your body, not how many calories I need to eat every day and how hard I have to go at the gym to lose this much weight by this date, and if I don't, I fail. And it's taking all of that out of it. And I'm really excited because now I'm going to start to offer these perfect health series online. And I'm not going to be doing it just in physical location in Saskatchewan, because I do have a lot of people interested. And, they get to do the hypnosis portion just in their home, laying on their bed.
Technology has definitely moved us forward in that, because I would say, because I'm teaching a lot of different places in the world at the time, and I can use Zoom to get in touch with my clients. They can, get me anywhere. And the same with you. It's become a global community. So it's about who you have rapport with, and it's about, what style of work do you want done, all that. And so we're going global, you and me.
We are. And I love that, because then it's not, I can really be there for more people than I have time for if I'm always giving this one-on-one. I mean, even my one-on-one sessions are so booked, and I can reach more people. Plus, I had all these people bringing their chairs and their pillows and their blankets and their mattresses to the class, because we spend a bunch of time in hypnosis, and they had to, in the winter, pack this stuff up, bring it to class.
Especially what you were saying, it was minus 21 Celsius today.
Oh yeah,
or feel like it
feels like minus 21 Celsius.
Yeah, it's really quite a bit warmer than that, but the wind and the storm are much colder, right?
So I think it's more convenient, right? Where you don't have to come home, hurry up and eat and pack up and drive and go to the class and then come back. It's so convenient even for us to sit here and do a call without having to actually travel.
Well, I'm finding it very great. I was doing some Zoom work yesterday. Every day I actually doing more of that than private practice, because I'm in and out of Parksville all the time and not here very much. So it really is important for hypnotists and lay people alike to start moving into the global community.
Well, and I find that they find more support too, because sometimes it can be lonely where you are. Sometimes it can just feel like nobody really understands what you're going through. and you don't really have those sacred relationships or those intimate connections with people around, and it might cause you to feel isolated.
Yeah.
And you can literally, you know, just go into the online community, and there's so much support.
Yeah. Oh, guess what?
There's so much, so many people willing to connect.
So we're time to go off to break, and we're going again now.
.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Hypnosis Everywhere, the Simpson Protocol. To reach the show today, please call into 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to Inez, that's INES, at InezSimpson.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Welcome back, everybody, to Hypnosis Everywhere. I think I was in the zone there. I'm just going to hand it right back to Heather. We'll just keep discussing.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's easy to get into the zone talking to you.
I think we're always in hypnosis, and it is a natural state after all.
Absolutely. And oh yeah, you know, talking about the potential of online, and really for everyone listening to, like you said, consider that as something that can not only bring more convenience to your life, but help you connect to and find the people that you really do want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And connect with. I mean, we would have never met if it hadn't been for online. We wouldn't even be doing this.
No, that's true.
And so one of the things I am offering for 2019 is an online Perfect Health and Balance series. So this is going to be a 7-week series. I'm going to put all the details on my website and Facebook and Instagram, which is really easy to find as Hypnoheather everything. Hypnoheather.com, Hypnoheather, Facebook and Insta.
Hypnoheather, there we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And Martin will have it all on the show page too, if they need.
Perfect. And what we're going to do in those 7 weeks is really, I'm going to show up with everything that I have, you know, to bring to this topic, which is so much, and go with that, from working with these ideas of perfect health and the wisdom of your body and restoring balance, and, you know, eating for balance and moving for balance, and general well-being. We're really focusing on, you know, what comes in with that, like sleep, and how wonderful sleep contributes to our perfect balance. And there's so much we could talk about. And, you know, this idea of, again, where I'll be coaching everyone in this online series.
Okay.
Is awareness into the day-to-day.
Okay. So just say that again, Heather, that last little bit.
Sure. I'll be working with everybody over that 7 weeks. It's going to start in March, where it's bringing into these awarenesses every day and being able to create that new messaging, you know, even outside of the class. So the class is the time that we spend together to create during the week, you know, these day-to-day, moment-to-moment choices that create new habits, new beliefs, new thoughts. And then with that, there's also going to be some launching of the Hypno Coaching program. So you can look out for that, because there'll just be a few spots open to begin with as I really bring it into full manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd like, and as I can bring in this template for happiness that our listeners can do after they, you know, are done listening to this.
Please. I like to give them all the help they can get out there. So
yeah. And this is something that I have found really helpful for myself too. So basically, as I was speaking to earlier, this idea that once we have awareness of something, the reality of something, so this might be contrast, this might be this idea of like, what do I need to change? You know, what's causing me stress, or what's causing me suffering, or causing me pain? And then rather than try to fix it or look for the solution, just start to consider that the solution will come. And how it will come is that in the day-to-day, you can choose to make a choice that's right for you. Now, only you can know that. I don't know what the right choice is for you. Sometimes for people, I found it saying no to things. You know, sometimes it's just saying no. So, for example, if you have a difficult time saying no, maybe you feel like you're going to let people down or they're going to be disappointed, but doing that thing is actually really not good for you. By just saying no, you're already creating new chemical messaging in your brain, which is creating a new pathway to happiness. So you're not having to fix something by finding this solution. I need to, like with weight loss, I need to go to the gym every day and eat this perfect diet. No, you have a moment, you choose something lighter. I'm going to choose this water over this latte. Right now, I'm going to choose this salad over this French fries. And it doesn't mean you have to choose that later. It just means in that moment, you made that choice and you created new chemical messaging in your brain, which will continue to feed you. So then you feel great. So then not only are you creating this new program, next time you look at the salad, you're like, oh, I want that. So you're not having to force yourself to eat a salad, and you're not, you're not deprived because you can't eat the French fries. You just feel good because you made the choice, and you can do that anytime, anywhere that you want.
That's perfect. And it's just about being aware that you're doing. And the more you do it and make the right choices for you, whatever those are, the better it gets. So
Yes.
they come to making good habits naturally. True?
Absolutely.
Okay, I really just going to say a few things about this. So Heather is going to be doing this online. You can do this anytime that she's starting in March. And I'm also just going to give a little plug up to myself because I'm also doing mentoring to become hypnotist. I'm doing mentoring with people that take Simpson protocol. So the mentoring and the training can be done mostly in your own home. Mostly and on your schedule. So we are moving into that paradigm where we are meeting our clients to make it easier and better. Now, would I say most? When I say mostly, it's because sometimes you can't come here live with me if you're close, or on Zoom. We have this option and it's great options for doing these training programs where you are in the comfort of your own home. And Heather's going to be doing that soon. And what else did I have to say, Martin, before any of that?
Nothing. I'll let Heather finish now.
Well, first, before I'll let Heather tie it all up, but next week we're going to have Nicole Wagernagel on, and she's from Switzerland. And she's a great hypnotist, and she's full of beans. She's just a real character. I love her deeply. And we're going to have her on, and you're going to hear a whole different facet of hypnosis again. So Heather, you tie up. You've got the last couple minutes here to go.
Wow, I will just start by saying that you're amazing, and I have learned so much from you. And you know, if anyone is really wanting to even complete their Simpson protocol certification and get assistance in any area of their lives, and especially, you know, learning Simpson protocol, which changed my practice and changed so many of my students, I would highly recommend that. It's been, yeah, it's just been a great pleasure getting to know you and your work. And I really, from someone in the hypnosis community, appreciate so much all that you've done to get hypnosis everywhere.
That is what we're doing, isn't it? That's what we're doing. And you know what? We've come to the end of the program, and I really thank you. And I'm supporting you because I think you're great, and you're supporting me because you think I'm great. But we're off the air in a moment, and I'm just going to say thanks and goodbye till next week.
All right, you're clear. Great job, everybody.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Good job.